welcome on into United Resistance, but it's not United Resistance yet without this.
We live in an age where those in power are openly using every weapon at their disposal to impose their will upon the future. Where the principles of authoritarianism and individualism stand in open conflict in the streets, in the courts, in the news, in everyday life. Where the choices we make and the choices that are made for us have consequences no one can foresee. You do not stand alone. You do not fight alone. You do not suffer alone. We are united. We resist. We are here with you. As long as there is a truth that remains hidden, as long as lies are spread openly, we will continue to speak out. We will continue to question. We will continue to be the united resistance.
Same thing we always do. Fight them until we can't.
Yes, indeed. Welcome on into United Resistance, episode number 67 of Fighting Them Until We Can't. God, I love this show. I love this panel. And a great panel we have tonight because we have the wonderful Janet from Another Planet here, as always. We have Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective here. What's going on, Mr. Tommy?
Weak.
And, of course, we have Will here right down the hall from me. He's live because he has nothing better to do.
What Tommy said.
Yeah, so I want to welcome everybody to the show, and we see a ton of people in the chat already, and I will get to the hellos to the chat, but I do want to say...
Wait a minute. Did you say there's a bunch of Lizzos in the chat?
No, I said that there's a bunch of people in the chat.
I heard ton.
Yes. Oh, my God. But I wanted to kind of start off with the fact that, look, last week, an unexpected snafu happened where yours truly forgot to hit the end broadcast button. So you guys ended up with bonus footage of Will, of all people, doing God knows what in his room for about, I don't know, 35 minutes.
And somehow, whatever I did, you managed to keep secret for a whole week because you did that on purpose, didn't you?
So, you can thank us.
Just don't re-show it right now. That's all I ask.
You can thank us for the bonus footage and the hilarity that ensued afterwards. I want to say shout out to the people that did some great.
I want hazard pay for that, by the way.
There were some great Twitter memes posted about Will. It was like It was a whole thing, man. It was great. So again, props to this audience and the sense of humor that everybody has. ETEP was one of the ones that just went in on the comments. He had the most legendary fucking comment from last week when all this shit was happening because he got into the stream late and he posts in the chat, "This is absolutely the worst post-credit scene I've ever fucking seen." So, yes.
You're welcome.
That's
All of you.
exactly what happens when you try to run your internet into a well. It just doesn't work.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Tell Tolbat I'm trying to produce a documentary and my subjects are not cooperating at all.
All right. So let's say hello. Obviously, Tobat's here. Hail, Tobat. Hail to Keely Chow. What's going on, buddy? Great to see you. Big John DeVelvis is here. John, I hope all is well with you, buddy. You know, God bless you. I often think about you, my friend, and I'm always praying for you. Sean Estep is here. Hail to you, Sean. Rita is in the house. Hey, beautiful people. So much love from Iowa. Rita, we love you, honey. It's great to see you.
And we love Iowa.
And I hope, I hope that you guys can come up and visit you and Dwayne sometime. Also, Papa Cotton's in the house. Great to see you. Whoop. Always glad that you're here. And Kai is lurking in the chat. Kai, what is up, my friend? Thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. You know, I do want to say thank you, big thank you, because I think that she's watching. But, big thank you to Vanessa, aka Mrs. Supreme Heretic. She came in clutch, and as I was getting things ready for the broadcast, she provided dinner, and I just want to say, thank you to the wonderful wife to be for coming in clutch for your man. I appreciate you. And
Good talk.
besides, yes, it's raining tacos.
That's not what I said.
But yeah, we got a lot to cover tonight, guys, and it's going to be an interesting show. Tehillim, great to see you, buddy. I kind of wanted to start off with the topic of DeSantis running for president, and Tommy, you're familiar with DeSantis because you are a resident of Florida. You've experienced life under his policies, and look, all in all, to give the guy his kudos, Florida is good, but the presidency is a completely different thing. And
well, I will say this under DeSantis, and I mean, it's easy to look from the outside in and say everything is roses. It is not 100% roses. There's a lot of things that DeSantis promised that he was going to do that he has just failed to actually deliver on. One of them was the completely outrageous insurance rates for homeowners right now. The insurance rates for homeowners all across Florida have gone through the roof. You're talking more than triple or sometimes more than what they used to be before. He promised that he was going to do something about that, and he has not done a damn thing about it. And I know a big part of that has to do with the runaway economy and the value of housing going through the damn roof too. And that's actually causing insurance companies like, well, your house is valued a lot more. We're just going to raise your rates. I mean, this is something that DeSantis could probably come in and put a cap on this. Like, hey, we need to tamp down these prices of the homes just a little bit. Something needs to change,
right.
or these insurance companies need to do something to take the inflation into account for these runaway insurance rates at this point. And he's done nothing about it. And then there's been other things that I don't talk about because it's stuff that's given to me by people who are involved with law enforcement and everything. Because my wife works for the Florida Highway Patrol, and DeSantis is not exactly the greatest guy in those respects either. And I've always said this over and over again. I don't trust suits. If they wear a suit, I don't trust them, and I never will.
And I can't disagree with you on that. Janet, just your first impression of Ron DeSantis as a candidate.
I think he's a governor wanting to be president of the United States. I don't think he's got what he needs to have when we have someone like Trump who's already proven he can do it. So there's no way I'm going to go for someone that's a governor when I've already got a president.
All right, Will?
Real. That's how I look at it. That's my point of view.
I agree with Janet. DeSantis is maybe, if let's say that he ever is ready to run for president, or at least be a legitimate contender for president, I don't think the time is now. I think it's okay that he's running his first campaign now. Also, I believe that outside of the last couple of days, I think Trump's campaign people have done a nice job, because what he's been doing is exactly what he should be doing as far as criticizing DeSantis. He's calling him on his record. He's calling him on the fact that he's inexperienced. Trump is saying, I have the experience as president. I've proven myself as president. Today's Disney tweets notwithstanding, and I don't think it's going to be very long before he can actually pivot and start going after Joe Biden the way he's going after DeSantis right now, as far as Twitter goes, at least.
Sean Eastep, you are right on point with the way I feel about DeSantis, and here's why. All right. And hail, by the way, to Glinzer. Glinzer says, voting is always about choosing the lesser of two evils. You're not wrong. Now,
especially in politics.
Let me frame it to you guys like this. And this is where I have my concerns with Ron DeSantis. And it's the fact that, number one, he piggybacked off of Trump to get his position of governor in the first place. Mm-hmm. Trump endorsed him. He coasted to a win. He got that position. And look, he's done a fairly decent job. But, all right, here's where it kind of gets murky. When you start talking about presidency, people that have already signed on to fund this guy and, donate to him, the list is suspect as hell. Because we're talking like a Bush family candidate all over again. Mm-hmm. with the donors that this guy has. You've had George Soros, of all people, coming out endorsing this guy. All right? I am not comfortable with that, because red flag number one should tell you that as much as he claims that he's so anti-woke, he's going to take out all the woke shit. He's going to, turn around all the leftist bullshit. I don't buy it. I think it's going to get repackaged and positioned in another way. I don't think he's going to fight the digital currency. I don't think he's going to fight the Agenda 21 type policy, or Agenda 2030, excuse me. I don't think he's going to fight that stuff. I think he's going to swim with that current, but he's going to put up a good front that he's, quote, standing up for America, and everything is great because, we live in the home of freedom. But yet we don't have freedom because he's not going to derail these policies.
Well, can I say something?
Yeah, go right ahead, please. Janet.
What I see and what I've watched with DeSantis is that he is trying to be the young buck that's going to be just like Trump, but he doesn't have the baggage, and he's young and bare-eyed. He wants you to think that he's going to be the younger Trump. And that we don't need Trump because he's got so many bags hanging around his neck. But every single bag that we've got around Trump's neck has all been thrown at him from the Democrats. Okay. And the thing is, the PP dossier has been proven fake. Every single thing has been proven fake, but they all still talk about it because they still believe it. So that's what he's going to run on. He's running on replacing Trump with a younger version, which is himself. But it's all been pushed by the Bush family. right? So everyone that was involved in the Bush's presidential administration is who they're going to shove back down our throats with this new DeSantis. Trump, as I know, learned a lot from his first 4 years as president of the United States. Look how much better everything was. Price of gas, everything. We were bringing jobs back to our country. So all I want is that back. I want America first again. That's what I want. And I know Trump can do it because he did it. And he did almost all of it with executive orders. What's going to happen if we can get him as president and we can ride the ass of our Congress and our Senate and tell them, do what you're told by your president of the United States and bring our country back to us? And maybe we'll get something this time. They said, oh, we're going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And what did they do? Nothing. They sat on their asses and whacked off. What Trump tried to do is everything he could by himself.
What about the House Speaker, Janet? How he said the minute he gets in there, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and they didn't do a damn thing. That kind of shit, that needs to change.
Man. He's already said it in public that he's a DeSantis man, too.
Well,
So
listen.
It's more.
Listen, guys. Listen. Let me tell you. Let's put it out there. And Papa Cotton, and I often look at Papa Cotton's takes and say he's black-pilled as all shit, but he's right on this because look, the politicians as a whole, most of them are part and parcel owned by the globalists. They are not going to stand up to the globalists. They will say things. They will talk a big game. They will not stand up to the globalists.
They'll lick their ass.
No, they'll kowtow and they'll step and fetch.
Yes, exactly. And they are.
I remember. You know what I remember? I can't help myself. That every time I remember George W. Bush, what I remember most about George W. Bush are those live videos that they will put on like C-SPAN or what have you of him about to sign a bill. And there were never less than 10 people surrounding him, sometimes more than that, sometimes a dozen, sometimes as much as 20. And they all had these shit-eating grins on their face. And you know exactly why they had those shit-eating grins on their face. And obviously Bush had that shit-eating grin on his face. He was looking around like, and then he signed the bill and they would all shake his hand. And that's what we're headed towards with DeSantis, because he is that kind of candidate. I'm not saying he's not trying to be like a younger version of Trump. But in the end, if you're in bed with the globalists, that's exactly what you're going to have.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You know, listen, unless there's a politician that'll come out, go on the record, and said, look, I'm going to go after the human traffickers. I'm going to expose the true agenda. I'm going to sit here and tell you exactly what's going on with what they're putting in your water, what they're spreading through the atmosphere, in your air, what they're doing with all of these eugenics type of programs, what they're doing with the assisted suicide programs. I mean, you could go down across the board with everything. But until somebody goes on the record and says, I'm going to expose the actual agenda, I don't trust any of them.
He's not going to do that. And because he even waited for his state to make it pass a law so that he could run and lose and still have his job. Okay? That's what kind of wuss DeSantis is. That proves his character to be is not presidential. You know, he's not a president. He's a governor. It's a huge difference. We've got 50, not one.
Yeah, and where
he's not up for the task. He's not up for the task.
Where are any of these candidates? You know, obviously the left isn't going to say anything about it, but where are any of these candidates on the right that are saying, you know, and this is one of my big deal breakers. This is one of my big deal breakers right here. Why are none of them coming out and saying, I want the January 6th prisoners immediately pardoned? That should be priority fucking one, because there does not need to be political prisoners on American soil. I'm sorry. I am worked up about that because I was there. I was there, damn it.
I know. And we couldn't even get all the video out. We've been asking for it for how many years? We can't even get to see it. Even the prisoners can't even
only our video.
So, it shows you. I don't trust them.
I tell you, here's the perfect storm to me, and this is probably the only way that we could probably move forward as a country. What needs to happen is somebody on the right, whether it's Trump or whoever, needs to reach out to Kennedy, and they need to run a joint campaign together. I think that's the only way you're going to be able to pull enough people together to back this, is if you have somebody from each party. So you have somebody, at least both of them, having like maybe a center line stance on everything for both parties. Maybe that can actually unify people again. I think regardless, because if you have all one party, and we've talked about the pendulum swing before, if you have all one party is controlling things like you have what the Democrats doing now, we've swung so far left. And now if you have all right come in and they're really hard right, the pendulum's going to swing the other way. How much worse is it going to get when that pendulum swings back to the left again? Those are the kind of things that we got to try to find a way to avoid. And I think the only way to do that is if you get a representative from each party to say, we'll run together and we will buck the system and we'll actually create some serious change that the people of this country can get behind.
Yeah, I mean,
Am I a fool because I can't imagine that happening? I mean, as much as I want to, as much as it may be the only thing that works.
It's damn interesting.
It's very interesting.
I would say that would be freaking interesting.
Unfortunately, right now, and I listen. I think you're right, Tommy. I think it might be the only way to do this, and it might be the only thing that works. But unfortunately, as we speak, it sounds like fiction. I hate to say it.
Yeah, but
definitely does.
No. Let me explain that. Let me explain what I meant by that. I don't mean like it's scripted, it's fantasy. I'm just saying like it seems more unrealistic than it should.
Mm-hmm. All of this does. The last 5 years seem like a science fiction novel. Doesn't seem realistic at all.
It's a general statement, and it deserves to be treated as much. Thank you.
It's happening every day. So anything like that doesn't surprise me. I honestly believe that something like that could happen, because
I don't know that, Tolbat.
Well, if both of them could talk to each other about what they agree on, and just go out and talk about what they agree on together, I think that's a huge statement. Even though nobody agrees about everything, even us all in this panel don't all of us agree, but we do agree in one thing. And that's what we want our country back. We want our freedoms back.
That we do.
Right to be able to vote the way we want, eat what we want, live where we want, and work where we want, and have lower taxes. We all agree on that. So if we can all agree on this, just us four, why can't more people agree on different things like that? And then we work on things. But we have to agree on where we want our country to be, which is free, and jobs here. Freedom of oil drilling, freedom of where we want to buy our products, where we want to have our jobs, where our kids go to school, all those things. We all agree on that. Take our country back.
Yeah, Janet, and to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, listen, America needs to be a leader in most of these sectors. We need to be like one of the top, if not the top, like oil exporter in the world, not taking in other countries' oil. We should be like energy independent, providing for other countries. We should have other countries coming to us saying, yo, we want to buy your shit. And that is what's lacking. And it's lacking purposely because, a strong America flies in the face of what they want. So that is not a priority right now, and you can see it with the politicians that are running around.
Can I say something? I saw something that Tolbat had wrote. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. He said that it won't happen ever again because tech and business control everything. Well, that's true. But we made a difference with this whole thing with the Budweiser thing. When you had one stadium and all the people in there on their own decided we're not buying Budweiser's crap. And they stood in line longer to get other beer and not buy theirs. Okay, so if those people can all come together on like that and do something to hurt a company, we could do it. I mean, if we all quit, going to Woke is on Prime and Netflix and some of these others and cut them off and hit them with a pocketbook. But we all work together by having like a neighborhood watch program. I'm thinking about trying to do something with that, where you get with your neighbors and you borrow each other's movies, borrow each other's games, start doing things together at home with your family, with movies, old movies you haven't seen, playing games with your kids again, a family night, and call it neighborhood watch, because you're watching stuff that isn't
I like
woke
that name.
from the wokeazon people, and
Well,
hurt them where it counts. Make a difference. Take our communities back. Take our towns back. Take our country back. Don't let them push us into having to have a subscription with someone. Do it our way. We can
well,
make it.
just in that sense, there needs to be more togetherness among citizens, among people. Do you know the other night, yeah, over the weekend, like we had a great time, like Sunday night. Me, Will, Mrs. Supreme Heretic. We had Richard. The four of us went over to Vanessa's room. We sat down and we played a game together. A board game. A card game. We played Cards Against Humanity together. But we sat there, with alcohol, Cards Against Humanity, and we just had a good time. Four human beings sitting at the table, laughing together in person, not on a screen.
I can't remember the last time I'd done that.
It was nice. It was nice, and that's the type of social interactions people need to get back to. The
Family
yes,
and friends.
yes,
Any sense of family. That's it. It doesn't even have to be just anyone you consider family.
yes.
Anybody you're close to. Doesn't necessarily have to be family.
And speaking on that idea, I want to shift topics real quick because we're approaching the half-hour mark. We really got into the meat of this DeSantis topic, and I like when we attack the meat. That's good. But the thing is, I got a couple
Out on
other
that
things.
meat.
A couple other things I want to get to here, and one of them is really important to me, and that is the idea of this thing where we're seeing more and more human trafficking. It's starting to come out that human trafficking for the purpose of these really fucked up rituals. And look, I am kind of going to play my religious card because, as you guys know, I'm a believer. I pray to the Lord. I believe in the Lord. I have my own walk with the Lord, but that's the way that I roll. And these satanic motherfuckers, and I will just put it out there, are doing these messed up things to kids. And it's been attempted to be swept under the rug by the media, by everybody. And it's starting to get blown wide open that the thing about Pizzagate was real. And I want to get to CJH's super chat before it goes down the way. So CJH for Canadian $5.50. They're going to introduce New World Order as the alternative party to trick everyone into voting for them. You watch. And
I think they already have that to a degree. They already have that, because that's why you got so many people that are on the Republican side that act just like Democrats.
Yep.
It's that uniparty thing that some of us has discussed before, and there's a lot of people that are involved in that shit. If you don't think that the New World Order is already sitting there in office, you are fooling yourself, CJ. They are already there.
Yep. Spencer.
They have this beside their name is what they should have. A W.
Yeah. Hail to Spencer from Bounding into Comics, man. Love you, Spence. Spencer says, vote for me instead.
Sure,
Spencer,
why not?
Spencer, I would. You are a fellow Asian brother. I got you. But RR says, this is a global cabal of international banks, multinational corporations, and they're bought of puppet politicians who've sold their countries out. Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing, when you get into the deeper, sinister part of it, the rituals, the shit that they do to kids, the harvesting of that adrenochrome, all of that. It's so deeply disturbing. And that is what really, really bothers me, that nobody talks about, or nobody talks about exposing it. I want to see just for once, and listen, I know to the average lay person, this sounds like something very far fetched or out of a horror movie, but I promise you, these kids are disappearing. Bad things are happening. So I don't know. It really bothers me. I don't know. Will
There's a lot of things going on that a lot of people should be disturbed about. There's a lot of information that's being hidden from the average person, and if they don't know where to look, they're going to completely miss out on a lot of this shit. It's very pertinent to everything that's been going on. I mean, look at some of the stuff with the pink elephant shit. We're now learning, like a lot of us knew that there was already trademarks and patents on that shit. We didn't know that it went back quite as far as we just recently found out. I'm sure none of us could have imagined it went back that far. But everybody's just overlooking it. They're not seeing that information, and it's getting buried. And it really is an eye opener to how deep a lot of this corruption really is
well
at all levels.
CJH for another Canadian $5.50 says, look up Tartaria and the mud floods. They did this before. They'll do it again. Yeah, I've looked into some of the Tartaria stuff, CJ, actually here and there, and yeah, it's pretty fascinating. Um, Rita says, I just want to live in a normal place, and I don't believe that anyone who wants to lead this country will do better than what Trump did. No, but he's also, there's also a lot more obstacles in his way, a lot more people in his way. He's persona non grata. They've tried so hard to keep him out, and they are going to continue to try to limit what they think is the damage that he can do, or for him to turn around a lot of the damage that has been done to the country. So, I'm concerned for President Trump. I really am. I think in his heart of hearts, he does want to do something about it. But, I'm worried in the grand scheme of things about people succumbing or being seduced by the globalist money, by their plan, by this whole idea. Because listen, you see the people that are trendy right now that people quote trust, the Elon Musks of the world, the people that jumped on the DeSantis bandwagon, people that follow a lot of the quote conservative influencers around the internet space. It the bottom line is, with a lot of these people, they're not what they seem, because what they're trying to do is misdirect. They're trying to play you in one direction. Okay? But they're not talking about what's really relevant. And if we have true values where we care about children and we care about our country, this stuff, no matter how much people might think it's outlandish, needs to be talked about. I will say this: I am number one. I am about children. I'm about looking after children, the safety of children. Do you know? And I can say this, and it's not just because she's standing in the room watching. You know, my wife to be is the most excellent mother I've ever seen. She is what some people would say would be overprotective of her child, but she screens out so much of the evil bullshit that is in this world that boy doesn't notice, and thank God. And she keeps him on a good path. And I marvel at her for that. I'm thankful that she does that.
Well, I mean, it should be that way because absolutely you should protect children from all this kind of stuff that they really don't need to know about now. Like later on in life, they can find out about all this stuff if they really want to look into it. There's no sense burdening a young mind like that and destroying their mind before it really has a chance to develop.
The way I see it, there are worse things in the world. There are worse things a person could be in this world than an over attentive mother.
Yeah, well, you have to be now. You have to be an active parent. You have to be a protective parent. There are so many forces at work, and they are patently evil. They are patently evil, and we need to keep these just absolute terrible people, these demonic fucking forces away from the kids.
And the fact that what I try to push is that we need both parents. Okay, even if they're separated, okay, you need both parents involved in a child's life because a child needs the love of a father and a mother. And if the father isn't there and you have a grandfather or an uncle that can step in, I just feel it's so important because children are growing up not knowing one or the other sex in their life. And I'm not talking about sex for sex, having sex. I'm talking about the love of a woman hugging, kissing their boo-boos, telling them stories, tucking them in at night, and then the love of a man who takes them fishing and hiking and does boy things, plays baseball, lets a boy be a boy with a man around. Uh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what is missing, and that's what's hurt our country. I think is the breakdown of the family, parents that are
Unfortunately,
there
I'm
to
sorry.
raise the child.
No, I think, Janet, to that degree, I think it also hurts little girls too, just as much when the father is not around, because
Mm-hmm.
usually those girls grow up to be very bitter towards all men because they never had a father figure in their life and they're resenting all men for that.
I know exactly what you're saying. I was a tomboy and I love my mother to death, but I was had a very special relationship with my dad, and I enjoyed hunting and fishing and working in the yard, going to the dump with my dad, doing all those things. And I can't explain it, but that's just the relationship. I can't remember not having it with my dad. And I was
Unfortunately,
lucky that I had it. I was lucky that he was there, and he did want to be a good dad. So.
unfortunately though, and I couldn't agree with any of that more, but unfortunately we don't live in the perfect world where, and I want to go back to something I was saying about the
Mhm.
concept of family. Some children are unfortunate to the point where they don't have anything that resembles a birth parent in their lives. And
Mhm.
what it really comes down to in the end is, it's all about positive influence. And if you can't get it from your birth parents, just children need somebody older, somebody wiser, somebody that's willing to look after them and show them the right way. It's that simple.
There was a program around when I was young, and I can't remember what it was called, but it had where like high school students and college students would come over and take the boy out to dinner
I
or to
know
a
this.
movie.
I know this.
What's the name of that? Do you remember what
Oh
I'm talking
God.
about? Or
Yeah, I do. I
a
do.
woman would take a young girl and do things with
Something
them.
like
I can't
was it
remember
like
what it was
Big
called.
Brothers or
Big
Big
Brother.
Sisters or something?
Big Brother and Big Sister program. I mean, I remember a couple of my friends that had that because their mother or their father were not around, and they loved it. They looked forward to it
Big Brothers,
every
Big
few
Sisters
weeks.
of America.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, organizations like that, it just seems like they just fell to the wayside, or they couldn't get the funding because they'd rather fund some other stupid program than
Bingo.
actually caring about children and helping the children
Well,
where
I
they
don't know
need
if
it.
you had this when you were growing up, Janet, but
Mhm.
all the friends that I had, usually I became friends with their parents as well, and their
Yeah.
parents would actually almost treat me as if I was part of the family, like I was like a secondary or third son or whatever, like
Uh-huh.
in the dynamics with my
Yeah.
friend when I was over there. And I think a lot of parents now they look at kids as just something that's there, and not something that needs to be nurtured or accepted and everything. And I think that that dynamic is really shifting, and I think it's changed a lot of minds in the way these kids grow up now. That's why you hear some of them. I've seen it before because my daughter's friends are like that because their parents are like kind of like absent parents. So you hear the same phrase from these younger generations. We needed an adult. They're saying that for a reason because they didn't really have adults in their life to help them out with situations. They didn't have a guiding force in their lives. And I think
that's how my house was. We would bring our friends over, or our friends would just show up, and my mom would have Kool-Aid and hot dogs, and she would cut hot dogs up and put them in pork and beans, to make as much as she could and share it with everyone. And I remember, I think I told one story one time about my mom went to a basketball game with us, and she saw one girl holding herself while she was running, and my mom said, "Go find out who that girl is, because I'm going to buy her some bras." So, my mom was just like that. She was very hands-on with everyone, wanting to help make sure that they had things that they needed if she could afford it. And we weren't rich, but my mom was like that. And I was lucky. That's what I say it all the time. I was very lucky to have such wonderful family. My grandparents were like that. My cousins, I had good relationships with all of them. And I know that so many people didn't have that. And maybe that's one reason why I'm such an advocate for it now, is because I believe that that's part of the problem, is that children need adults. They need structure. They need to know they're loved no matter what. Even if they make a mistake, that just because they made a mistake doesn't mean that they're a bad person and their life should be over. And do it when they're young, so that before they become criminals, before they do things, to learn between right and wrong, and they wouldn't act out if they had a mentor that would tell them, that's really stupid. You'd do better if you did this, put your energy into this, do this, whatever. And that's what adults are for. That's what we need them for. I still go to my dad for problems. So
I think that unfortunately, one of the reasons I believe that you don't see as much of what you were talking about, Tommy, with the whole I go to my friend's parents' house, they treat me like a second son, they're so accepting. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you don't see a lot of that happening as much anymore as a result of there's a certain sense of paranoia that's sprouting up. And you can blame some of it on the pandemic. You can blame some of it on, fear mongering by the by media outlets and the news. But there's just a lot less acceptance of people that aren't in quote unquote your inner circle. Circle of trust, whatever. I know I'm referencing a Ben Stiller movie, but circle of trust, is one way to say it. And I definitely see that going on in the last many years.
It really is upsetting to watch these kind of things happen.
It is.
For all people to just sit there and turn a blind eye to everything that's going on too is really disgusting. They don't see the kind of damage that it's doing to the country as a whole, as this stuff just manifests and spreads like mold. How could they be so damn stupid? The whole idea of communities being able to watch out for one another was one of the things that this country was built on. People looking out for one another. If they weren't looking out for
your neighbor,
it wouldn't have lasted very long when they were trying to, build a civilization here.
Love your neighbor is, and that's that's a phrase I've been hearing all my life. Love your neighbor. They might as well just amend that to meet your neighbor.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it is a lot of people are afraid to interact with other people because if they say the wrong thing, they'll be ostracized. If they meet someone and they accidentally say "sir" when it was a woman, you see what I mean? Or if you don't say "ma'am" or you say "ma'am" and they say "I'm not a ma'am," I could see how that could happen, where a lot of people would just be afraid to say anything or interact with someone because they're afraid of the repercussions if they make a mistake. Or let's say you took something over and it had something in it, a dinner, or you made soup or something, and someone ate it and their lips swelled up because they're allergic to something you put in it. It's just people are petrified they're going to get sued, or they're going to be a Nazi, or they're going to be a homophobe, or they're going to be a whatever, So they're afraid to interact. They're afraid to do anything in with anyone around them that they don't know, because they don't know what the repercussions might be. That's how crazy the planet we live in right now is. And I know it sounds crazy. I would never have thought this would happen, but that's what I hear from people today.
There certainly are a lot of new allergies popping up these last many years.
Well,
for obvious reasons.
Real quick, I know Drew wants to get to the super chat. I just want to just add on to what you were saying, Janet, how people are scared to do anything. And I actually have a real quick story. It was very similar. Nobody wanted to help. There was a couple guys that broke down in a parking lot, and they were trying to get to the other side. It was like one of the strip malls. There were two strip malls, and one with a road in between them. Mm-hmm. Nobody would stop to help these guys push their minivan. Nobody would stop. So who stops and gets out? The broke guinea pig with the bad back and the bad knees. I was the one that got out to help them push their damn minivan while everybody else just drove around them, because they can't take the time to get involved to help somebody else out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that they can't take the time. It may not be that they can't take the time. It's that they're like, what's this guy's motive? It's not that he's disabled on the side of the road. He's plotting something.
Nobody trusts anyone. That's what I mean. Mm-hmm. Everybody's afraid of everyone else because they don't know what the consequences might be if they make a mistake, or what is their real intentions, that type of thing. So, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a lot of work for us to get back to where people want to reach out and just shake hands with someone. I don't even see that anymore. Barely see people opening the door for anyone, let alone saying, "Hey, how you doing?" and just putting their hand out to shake them.
Oh shit! Not even opening the door, just holding the door as they're going in.
I know, nothing. People are just look down at the ground or turn to walk the other way because they don't want to have any type of social interaction, and that's sad. And that's what I think that was part of the plan when all this stuff started to form back when 2015, when supposedly certain people were already put in motion. Yeah,
it's a strength in numbers theory. I mean, if we're all doing things separately, we're never gonna accomplish anything.
Yeah, because no one's gonna work together, right?
Not at all.
Yeah, you guys are right. But listen, I just want to say, I want to get to CJ's super chat. History has been rewritten for centuries. Tartaria is the lost civilization that the government destroyed with world wars. Proof is old maps and buildings. And look, CJ, I've heard about this. But the bigger issue is we're headed on a track to destroy ourselves because of buying in to this destructive philosophy that's been brainwashed into us. So all of this division, psyops, all the tactics they've used, all the push towards radical Marxism, everything. Mm-hmm. All the push to stop people from procreating the race. I mean, the population control agenda, all of this, it's evil, but it's also meant to literally rip society apart and, take the human race down to almost extinction level. It's bad news. They don't just want to cut the population down to a comfortable medium. They want to take it down to extinction level, some of these people. And I'm not even joking with you guys about that.
Yeah, I was going to reply to what Papa Cotton wrote about people suck in real life. And that's sad because I have met people that I've met and I'm like, oh, why did I start talking to this person, in the back of my mind? But you know what? That one person that ruins it for you for that one day, I'm thankful that I know I'm not going to meet them every time. Because if I met Papa Cotton, I'd probably give him, he wouldn't like it, but I'd probably do it. That's me.
Well, I think another thing with social interactions, like we could sit here and we can interact online. We could probably have blowout arguments, but you really don't understand exactly where that other person is coming from when you're dealing with somebody online, because the view that you take of them may actually be askew just because of a bad experience. So
I also believe that it's a lot harder to have a real argument online.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's a lot different than when you actually meet a lot of these people in person, and you can actually have like actual real relationships with people. And you shouldn't get discouraged by one or two bad people, because I'm sure every single one of us has probably gone at each other at some point. And you know what? It may not be as serious as you think, because once again, it's online interactions. You probably get a completely different experience when you meet somebody in person. And other than a few people I met in person, which I'm not going to talk about because I've written them out, I have not had a bad experience with anybody that I've met from the online circles. Like when I met JJ, JJ was just as awesome in person as he was for every phone conversation and every online interaction that I had with him. Hanstar was another one, awesome guy when I met him in person when we went to JJ's viewing. So
Well,
don't count everybody out, and don't say, hey, you know, just because you have an off button, that's the only time you're any good, because you just don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
If you think I'm great here, you should meet me in person.
the day that
Blown away.
the day that I meet Tommy in person, the first thing he's going to say to me is, Jesus Christ, Drew, you look like Tattoo from Fantasy Island. And then the next thing, he's going to say, the plane, boss, the plane. And the next thing, I'll probably call Tommy a cocksucker and then give him a big hug.
And that is something you can only do in person. No.
I just reach down and I'll pick you up like a small child.
Oh,
That is adorable.
I'll probably start crying. That's what I'll probably do. I get like that when I get to meet people that I've talked to. I just start bawling.
I know. God, Janet, I invite you to my wedding. You're going to be sitting there bawling all the time.
Well, I can't help it. I get very emotional. I mean, I was the tomboy, but I'm one of the wussiest daughters in my family. Especially as I've gotten older, I get more. I'm very sentimental, very eclectic. I collect just friends in all different shapes and sizes and interests, because I try never to judge anyone just simply because of one thing they might have said or something they didn't say. I always try to judge them on their character and how they treat everyone. That's how I try to judge people.
Well, listen, I'm thankful for so many of you, because those of you in the chat, I talked to you guys online, offline, a number of you. I talked to you offline. Some of you guys I confide in, and I thank you so much for your guys' friendship and support, and all of you guys on the panel. I mean, especially Janet, Tommy, you both are. I mean, we're across the miles from one another, but you guys, we lean on each other. Janet, you've come to me. I've come to you. Tommy, you and I have been there for one another, and that's just how it's been. So I will say, from this aspect, the internet, while it's not a reflection of real life to varying degrees, you can foster really great real friendships still on through this type of medium. And I'm very thankful that you and Tommy are a part of my life, and people like
Ditto.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's just like any real relationship, whether it's online, video chats, or whatever program you decide to use to chat with each other, it takes work. You have to talk to each other on a regular basis. You have to be honest with each other, just like in real life, And if you share your feelings and you're honest about them, and you're truthful, but you're upfront, and you when you're asked a question, you try to be honest as you can when you answer it, and you do it frequently, like I'm not saying every single day, but every week or every 4 or 5 days. It keeps that connection, you know what I mean? And I think that's important. It's just like anything. If you don't water your garden, it's going to die. You have to feed your relationships. You have to be there for each other. You have to listen, and you have to know what's going on, because you can't help people or yourself if nobody knows anything about anything, So that's why it's important. It's important to talk to each other.
I wanted to say what's up real quick to another monster. Thanks for coming in. Nephilim to you, sir. and we've had a couple of other folks come in. I did.
Yeah, what up to Immortal Coil?
What up, Coil? Great to see you. Hail my savage
Feedback,
friends, he says. You know, hashtag Kenobi meat. Okay.
God, it's
But
been a while.
yeah, the
Apparently,
thing
that mean
about
never spoils.
the thing about it is, the show
Thank you.
always flies by when we're having good spirited discussion. And, I'm thankful for tonight's episode. Sorry we couldn't squeeze in everything this evening, but we got.
That's what she said.
I think we got a pretty healthy dose of the stuff that we wanted to get to. So, again, thank you, folks, for hanging out with us, watching the stream. United Resistance is a passion. I'm going to continue to do it because I want to talk about the important things happening. And I'm so glad that all of you are on that journey with us. You know, without you, there is no us. And I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. So thank you. All right, let's go around the panel. We'll let everybody do their outros. I'm going to get out of here because Mr. Supreme Heretic and I are going to take a wonderful evening walk down by the lake. And I will catch you guys most likely next Tuesday. So, all right, let's go over to the lady on our panel, the one that shows us class and kind of jazzes up the joint. So, go to Janet from Another Planet.
Well, I just want to say that on Friday nights, I'm trying a thing. It's called the Friday Night Shit Show. And I have my sister on there and a few other guests. And we talk about just random things that are going on in the world, in our lives. And then on Sunday, we're going to have a group together with Bruce Lombardi of Dick's Division and watch our next movie that we're going to review on Monday night. And then join me on Monday night on Bruce's channel. And he's streaming it on Rumble and YouTube. And we're going to review. I can't remember the name of it right this second, but I'm terrible. And then Tuesday I'll be here again. But thank you.
Yeah. Also, let's go over to Will.
Just for the future, Janet, if you can't remember it, you have to say, join us for our surprise feature.
Oh, I'll try.
Ooh.
I should have wrote it down, but I wasn't thinking ahead.
You make that a weekly thing. Like, we don't know we're not telling you what we're going to show. You just have to show up. It's magic. All right, I'm going to answer some people right now because I've been getting this a lot. Why have I not started the channel yet? In case none of you have figured it out yet, when it's okay if you haven't, I'm in sort of a transition in my life. There's not, I'm not living in the same extent.
Are you a they them? Are you a they them?
Not this week. Stay tuned. All right. I'm going to start over. I'm going to keep doing it now. Okay. No, it's obviously I'm not living in the same extended stay as Drew as a sociological experiment. One thing I have been trying to do is make a documentary of sorts, because I believe what's going on at this extended stay with my room and Drew's room and Vanessa's room and our other friend, I think it's more interesting than any reality show that's on right now. Unfortunately, I'm getting little to no cooperation from certain people that are also on this panel, maybe hosting this show, and all they want to do is have sex on camera while I'm taping it, and I'm not doing that. I'm not happening.
Hey,
that's it.
It's
I refuse.
It's hashtag beware the Drew, baby. All right, let's go over.
Not on my camera phone. It's not.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective. Doing the BattleBots thing, doing requested fights, all that good stuff, doing the toy reviews when I have a chance. I've been slacking on getting more toy reviews up there. I do have one that's posting later on tonight for the TMNT versus Cobra Kai figure sets that I had. This is a review I did a long time ago. I actually first showed it off in Collectible Pass, and I finally got off my lazy ass and actually created it into a video. But I do have a bunch more figures I have to shoot, including the ones that Sean Eastep so kindly had sent to the Guinea Pig Collective. But having a lot of fun. Guinea Pigs, of course, showing up on camera every once in a while, and just having a blast, because that's what it's all about. If you're not on here having fun, what the hell are you doing it for? Guys, remember, never let anybody tell you what you can and can't say, what you should or should not watch, because your silence gives consent, and those people are all part of the brainwashing community. Later, y'all.
Yes, and thank you guys. I appreciate everybody being here. You know, you guys are awesome. And, you know, without you great viewers, without you guys, you know, that just come on and support the channel, man. You're awesome. And thanks again to, you know, all of you, because you're my friends. And I don't know what I'd do without you. You know, life's too damn short to not be here and enjoy the friends that you have around you. So I love you. You know, we'll see you guys next week for sure. And until then, check it out. Where is the outro? Yeah. I never find it. I never
Hey, Tolbat, I won't be around. Tolbat, I won't be alive in 2053. The joke's on you, pal.
I never find it because I'm old.
You better hope she don't start saying that.
Hey, you know what?
I thought she did. Wait a minute. No.
I will say this. You know, she's actually, you know, again, Vanessa, I love you to death. She actually said that she'll stick around to change my Depends when I'm in my 70s.
Thank God for goodness.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, hi, Coast Casino.
Hey, welcome to Sporking News Podcast. My name is Scott.
I'm Temple Queen of the Place to Be Reviews.
I am the Patriot, True Taylor, aka Supreme Heretic.
The Red Gaze on YouTube, at the Red Gaze on Twitter.
What up?
Hello, everybody. It's me, Vinny.
The voice of Immortal Coil.
Oh, hey, I am the Ghost Bear.
What's going on, Tommy? You didn't get anybody to like this?
Yeah, I'm Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast.
Tone Death Rockin'.
I mean, we have a lot of cool things over there. I did some magic tricks.
Hi, guys. Try to stay here.
My name is Monkey Knight.